What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck does it look like I'm doing? Like you're about to rate a dollar bid.
What are you laughing at over there? What are you laughing at?
Just watching some old 10 for the win intros.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy how time flies, huh? 10 years ago, we were just starting out 10 for the win, and here we are 10 years later, starting 10 for the win again.
Yeah, 10 years ago, we were working together doing silly videos and kind of wondering how long that would all last.
Yeah, and here we are 10 years later, still working together on silly videos, still wondering how long it's gonna last.
Are we stuck in some goddamn time loop?
Oh my God, I feel time freezing around me, Larson.
My face feels doughy.
Mr. Myring is here.
I think the sewer fumes from back there are ripping a hole in space-time, Steve.
You could be right about that, Larson. Or it could be the bath salts that I spiked our lunches with.
Why did you bath salt me, Steve?
Hey friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
So the decade is winding down, so obviously we're going to take a few minutes to take a look back at the last 10 years.
There were some seismic shifts in the pro wrestling industry. In fact, here's 10 of them. Here's the top 10 most important pro wrestling moments of the 2010s.
Number 10.
Daniel Bryan wins at WrestleMania 30. Who'd have thought that the dude who got fired for choking out Justin Roberts during the debut of the Nexus would go on to main event at WrestleMania, much less defeat Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton en route to becoming WWE champ.
Daniel Bryan certainly doesn't fit the mold of the type of guy Vince McMahon is usually entrusted to carry the WWE's banner, yet Daniel Bryan won a bunch of titles prior to his win at WrestleMania 30. It's like Vince liked him, just not enough to go all in on him, at least not until the Yes Movement carried Daniel Bryan all the way to that title bout win in New Orleans.
Daniel was really the first of the prominent indie wrestlers who made Ring of Honor and PWG such groundbreaking promotions in the early and mid-aughts to make it to the very top of the WWE. Sure, there were other indie stalwarts who plied their trade for the company, but up until this point, none of them had ever main evented a WrestleMania.
And by the time Daniel won at Mania, the current incarnation of NXT, more on that later, was in full swing, and tons of former independent and international talent were under WWE's employ. We're talking Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, Kenta were all under contract by the end of 2014, not to mention Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, who were already on the main roster, but Daniel Bryan and CM Punk were really the two stars who paved the way for indie guys to make it to the very top of WWE, with Bryan, at that point, being the only one to have gotten a main event on the grandest stage of them all.
It really is a load of crap that Punk never got. A Mania main event match though, man.
Well, maybe if Phil hadn't shit his pants during a match, I could take him seriously as a main eventer.
Oh, wow. Did that match soil your impression of his?
I mean, I don't mean to dump all over Phil, but that really left a stain on his legacy.
You see what we did there is a bunch of poopy jokes.
Yeah.
Number 9.
Okada defeats Tanahashi. New Japan Pro Wrestling was in a tight spot at the beginning of the new millennium. Business was down and the promotion seemed to lack the star power to elevate itself out of the hole it had dug for themselves until the three musketeers arrived on the scene.
Yeah, Katsuyori Shibata, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Hiroshi Tanahashi all went through the New Japan system at around the same time and started to raise the company out of the doldrums by the beginning of this decade, with Tanahashi firmly established as the promotion's ace.
Go Ace! But then New Japan took a huge gamble on a young talent fresh off excursion to serve as Tanahashi's foil. Today we know him as the greatest wrestler in the world, Kazuchika Okada.
Yeah, Okada had just been through a year-long stint in TNA where he was saddled with some of the worst creative imaginable. Yet 2 months after his return to New Japan, the Rainmaker challenged the Ace at New Beginning 2012, and in a truly shocking outcome, bested Tanahashi become the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, kicking off the greatest rivalry of the decade and catapulting New Japan to new heights of popularity both in Japan and worldwide.
And they just recently announced New Japan Pro Wrestling of America.
Yeah, that's cool.
Where top stars like Carl Fredericks and this guy here will compete for that AEW dollar. Or the US title maybe, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Maybe Juice Robinson will come over.
Sure, why not?
David Finlay.
There you go.
Number 8.
The Shield debuts! Several years before NXT started signing all the top names on the indie scene, it was, in the truest sense, a developmental territory whose primary purpose wasn't putting on the best wrestling shows in North America, but creating the future stars of WWE.
And the brightest stars to emerge from the end of FCW and the early days of NXT were undoubtedly The Shield, and you could tell that WWE had huge plans for them when they debuted as CM Punk's Muscle at Survivor Series 2012, but I don't think anyone could have predicted that all three members of the faction would dominate the promotion, no, the wrestling industry, for the next 7 years.
Yeah, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns are all Grand Slam champions and have a 26 combined title reigns between the three of them. I'm pretty sure that makes them one of the most decorated factions in WWE history, and who am I to argue with the WWE? They had just dubbed them the greatest faction in pro wrestling history on their very own website not that long ago.
That was before Dean Ambrose. I mean, Jon Moxley left for AEW. I bet you that if they did that list right now, the Shield would be below, like, right to censor, because Vince could be petty like that.
They wouldn't even be on the list. They can't talk about him anymore.
Yeah, Dean Ambrose.
Persona non grata.
Yeah, you can't talk about him no more.
That's right.
Number 7.
Punk's Pipe Bomb. Man, I'll tell you what, this promo right here, this is what really made me a CM Punk fan, and if I recall, Larson, it's what got you back into watching wrestling, is that right?
Yeah, I've been kind of watching wrestling on and off over the preceding years, and then I heard about CM Punk dropping his pipe bomb to close the June 27th, 2011 edition of Raw, and man, I was hooked. Then I got all caught up on the story they were telling about Punk at the time. He had a title match against Cena at Money in the Bank, but then if he won the belt, he was going to leave with the belt. But on his way out, he just started talking all sorts of trash to Vince and Triple H. It seemed like they could have gone in all sorts of interesting directions with that story.
Yeah, but you know, in typical WWE fashion, they kind of went with the least interesting story after Punk beat Cena. And granted, that was a 5-star match. He won the title. How cool would it have been, though, if they let Punk defend the belt in other promotions?
Really cool.
Imagine Phil taking the title to Ring of Honor or PWG, beating the best in those companies and adding more credence to his claim that he was the best in the world.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah, I know, but you know, instead they just held him off TV for a few weeks, determined an interim champion, then they had him show back up after he had negotiated some ice cream bars with his likeness on them or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, this promo still holds up really well, and it seemed to influence a lot of the kayfabe breaking we see in wrestling nowadays.
And if you saw Punk shooting Tom Arnold during his debut on WWE Backstage, it's obvious the guy can still cut a mean promo. I mean, come on. If I wanted shit from you, I'd scrape your tongue. Oh, that's pure poetry right there.
Number 6.
Bullet Club forms! I doubt Prince Devitt, Carl Anderson, Bad Luck Fale, and Bad Boy Tama Tonga would have ever imagined the heights that their club would achieve when it was formed in May of 2013. From selling shirts in Hot Topic to invading Raw, Bullet Club has captured the zeitgeist like few factions in recent history.
Yeah, because regardless of the membership, it just oozes cool. I mean, the logo itself, even if you don't know anything about wrestling, is just cool. I don't think any faction has had a logo as iconic since maybe the NWO, and they never sold their shirts in Hot Topic, so by my math, Bullet Club is obviously top faction ever, not the Shield.
Wow, yeah, too sweet, me brother.
No.
The hell, man.
Number 5.
Omega Okada won! We've already talked about the importance of Kazuchika Okada's monumental win over Tanahashi in 2012, but there is one other Okada match that single-handedly changed the wrestling landscape forever.
Of course, we're talking about his bout against Bullet Club leader Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom 11. For starters, it was only the second time in history that the Wrestling Observer himself, Dave Meltzer, doled out a 6-star rating. Sure, you could say it's just one man's opinion, but Dave's star ratings carry a lot of weight in the industry.
Yeah, they do. More importantly, though, the buzz leading up to this match, combined with the emerging role of social media in the world of pro wrestling in 2017, resulted in more eyeballs on New Japan than ever, at least here in North America. Everyone was talking about something in pro wrestling that wasn't WWE related.
Yeah, that was great. Over the next week, every wrestling news outlet and YouTube channel, like us, was talking about the match that Meltzer called the best pro wrestling match in history.
So Dave Meltzer gave this 6 stars on the Wrestling Observer.
Posted that on Twitter. I thought they were joking. Subscriptions to New Japan streaming service surged, and Bullet Club and the Elite reached new heights of popularity. The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega were now the faces of New Japan, who looked to capitalize on it by making plans for an expansion here in the United States.
Yeah, Okada became a worldwide wrestling icon, largely thanks to his follow-up matches being of equal quality, and of course Kenny and the Young Bucks carved out their own path out of New Japan into their own endeavor, AEW, brother.
Yeah!
Can I tell you a secret though, Larson?
What?
Sure, Okada Omega was good.
Yeah.
But my favorite match, Wrestle Kingdom 11, what I think was the best match really, was the New Japan Rumble. That's where the real stars are born, or go to retire.
Number 4.
Women main event WrestleMania! You can't talk about the very first WrestleMania headlined by women without talking about the women's revolution in WWE. After far too long being considered by WWE itself as a bathroom break level division, it finally was given the opportunity to flourish in the 2010s.
Part of Triple H's plan at NXT was to spotlight quality women's wrestling, and he did so by bringing in quality names from the indie circuit with Becky Lynch, Paige, Bayley, and Sasha Banks, and by hiring and developing Ric Flair's daughter Charlotte, and it paid off huge. While Paige was on the main roster sparring with AJ Lee, herself a forerunner of the modern women's division, the 4 horsewomen were putting on banger matches down in NXT.
Yeah, and once they were ready for prime time, the 4 were called up to the main roster, where they quickly took over. Charlotte and Sasha in particular started main eventing Raws and pay-per-views, including Hell in a Cell, and they were drawing money and ratings, 2 pretty important things in pro wrestling. And of course that led to Ronda Rousey recently having retired from UFC following a few high-profile losses, coming to the company to shine a huge mainstream spotlight on the women's division.
This coincided with a character turn from Becky Lynch, which propelled her popularity to huge heights, and a big fight with Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair became the focal point of 2019's WrestleMania.
Crazy to think, the last WrestleMania of the aughts featured one women's match, and it was won by Santino Marella in a wig and a dress. And the last WrestleMania of this decade was won by Becky Two Belts in the main event. What would be your dream match for the main event in the last Mania of the 2020s, Larson?
Oh, Asuka winning both the Universal and WWE Championships in a fatal 4-way against John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and I don't know, like Hulk Hogan, but his head is on like a cyborg's body.
Wow. You know what they could do? They could just combine all 3 of them and make them into like a super robot Rawgate mutant.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, and then she would still win.
Obviously, yeah. Asuka
Against
would
the
just
combined
beat them all.
powers of Hogan, Cena, and Brock.
Yeah.
Number 3.
AEW is born! The wave of momentum from the emergence of New Japan, Bullet Club, and the Elite in 2017 to 2018 was massive. But it was a Twitter user by the name of, ironically, the WWE guy, whose fairly innocuous hypothetical post to Dave Meltzer that spurred WWE's first real competition in 20 years.
Responding to a tweet asking if Dave thought Ring of Honor, bolstered by the Elite on their roster, could sell out a 10,000-seat venue, Dave said,
"Not anytime soon."
There we go, not bad, Dave.
Okay, I tried.
To which Cody replied, "I'll take that bet, Dave," and All In was born.
But Cody and the Young Bucks took an unusual route, as they didn't do it through Ring of Honor, although Ring of Honor did provide Cody and the Bucks some assistance, as did New Japan. But little did those 2 companies know, they were helping to create their own competition.
Yeah, when All In was announced for Chicago in September of 2018, the wrestling world went crazy and tickets sold out immediately. Over 11,000 packed the Sears Center to see a dream match lineup, and based off its success, businessman and huge wrestling fan Tony Khan took notice, and bam! All Elite Wrestling was born.
Yeah, a TV deal was struck, and in October of 2019, a non-WWE wrestling promotion made the airwaves on TNT, the former home of WCW. It's still early for the company, but their creation led to a new Wednesday Night War pitting AEW against WWE's NXT promotion, and all us wrestling fans get to revel in both brands stepping up their game week after week. More importantly though, we got to attend AEW's second big event, Double or Nothing, which meant we got to go through Barstow and eat at the Mecca of Del Taco, the Barstow Del Taco. Oh, it was so amazing. My top wrestling moment of the year, Larson.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool, but how is that more important than the birth of AEW?
Tacos just like melted in my mouth.
Number 2.
Brock ends the streak. All good things in wrestling eventually come to an end, although there was one particular thing that many of us felt should never end. And that was The Undertaker's WrestleMania win streak.
And in fact, there was at least one great opportunity to ensure the streak never ended, and that was when Taker and Triple H squared off in their end of an era match at WrestleMania 28. What a perfect way for The Undertaker to have potentially called it a day by finishing off a 4-year program involving longtime rivals Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, that would have been great. But the dead man kept answering when Vince made the calls. So 2 years later at WrestleMania 30, with Taker facing off against Brock Lesnar, no one expected the streak to end, especially given that it was just 1 year earlier that Brock lost to Triple H at WrestleMania 29.
The streak ending was a huge deal when it happened, shocking the live crowd in a way not seen since, I don't know, when Bruno lost to Ivan Koloff. But Vince had big plans for Brock, so if anyone was going to end the streak, it makes sense that would have been Lesnar. And man, they got a lot out of that loss, which in wrestling is pretty much all you can ask for. You know, if a passing of the torch is going to happen, it should mean something.
Yeah. Unfortunately for us, it means that Raw's top champion takes months off at a time, and the rest of the wrestlers have to act like the United States title is the top prize on the red brand. I mean, maybe just squint your eyes a bit when you watch Raw. Maybe you can act like the US title is the WWE title. Yeah, now I can kind of see it.
Yeah, maybe.
A little bit.
Kind of.
Is it there? Is that the world title?
Maybe if I take my contacts out, it'll look
There
more
you
like
go.
the world title.
Here,
Give me a second.
I'll help you.
No, don't.
Number 1! Triple H births NXT. Perhaps tired of the constant influx of underachieving meatheads delivering one-star classics on the main roster through the early to mid-aughts, late in the last decade, WWE focused more on wrestlers who could, wrestle. And started their developmental promotion, FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, soon after, upon the dissolution of the failed WWE ECW reboot, NXT was born, but as a competition show spotlighting wrestling rookies from FCW trying to win a contract to be in WWE. They're already in WWE, kind of. That was lame, so in 2012, under the direct supervision of Triple H, FCW changed its branding to NXT and resumed operations as a third developmental brand, complete with its own show, originally broadcast on WWE.com and then the WWE Network.
Yeah, along with the rebrand was a continued focus on pulling wrestlers from the ranks of popular independent promotions. Names like PWG's El Generico and Ring of Honor's Tyler Black and Chris Hero were recruited and became Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, and Cassius Ohno. This really blew up in 2014 when names like Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, and Kenta came to NXT, along with Samoa Joe and New Japan's Shinsuke Nakamura.
Along with these names, though, was a focus on great wrestling. Gone were goofy gimmicks. It became obvious that Triple H felt that WWE's future would be found in places like PWG, Ring of Honor, New Japan, and as far as women's division, Shimmer, Stardom, and Shine.
Get names like Asuka, Ember Moon, and a bunch more. By late in the decade, NXT TakeOver shows were stealing the buzz from everything else WWE did, and WWE kept snapping up huge names for the NXT brand, and for their expansion into the UK, where a massive pool of talent from Progress, Rev Pro, and others had developed throughout the latter part of the 2010s.
And now, with a TV deal on USA Network, NXT is WWE's official third brand, having been solidified as such at this year's Survivor Series when they won huge.
Yeah, it's been a huge decade for pro wrestling though, with the landscape having changed dramatically even over the past 3 years. With WWE scoring $2 billion TV deals, who knows where it'll be 10 years from now.
Oh, I know, WWE's gonna own everything. They're gonna be like the Disney of wrestling.
Yeah, maybe. You think Vince is gonna have himself cryogenically frozen like Walt Disney so he can come back when stem cell research ensures man can live forever?
Nah, he's gonna borrow Hogan's Robo Body from his Mania 46 match.
Oh, man.
Brother, what you gonna do when Vince and Hogan Robo Body
Oh no!
rolls over you?
Oh, what if they put both heads on the same body?
Oh, I don't wanna think about that.
That's terrifying.
That's a goddamn nightmare.
Oh my God, run away quick. Anyways, those are the moments we felt were the biggest ones in all the decade of 2010s in pro wrestling. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below.
Yeah.
Be sure to hit that like button and also hit that notify bell and hit all so that you always get your new Going In Raw notifications. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.